You're listening to the 49 Carats Podcast, a 49ers Goldmine production with Stephanie Sanchez.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another edition of the 49 Carats Podcast. I'm your host, Steph. It is Wednesday, July 17th. It is Wednesday. Wacky Wednesday. Hello, let's go. So joining me for our Wacky Wednesday show today, as always, Dezi. How you doing today, Dezi?
Whoop, whoop. What up, everybody? I am so stoked for today's show. We got so much to talk about.
Yes.
How's everybody feeling out there?
Man, it's this offseason has been a roller coaster, but we're holding on for dear life here. Obviously we got some more news about Brandon Aiyuk that I would just want to take a minute to get your thoughts on that, of course. Still been having issues with the slides on StreamYard, so I'm going to go ahead and do my makeshift slideshow here. There we go. It still works. There we go. So, Dezi, in case you didn't know, Brandon Aiyuk requested a trade yesterday, set the world on fire. When you saw this, what were your initial reactions to it?
I think I had the reaction that most 49er fans did. It was like the gasp. I think I sent you the emojis, it was like mind blown. And then it was like, the anger cursing one. And then it was the tears. I think I felt that all at one time though. I riffed it all one by one, but I think I felt it all at the same time. But then once I took a breath and was like, well, wait a minute. He can't really do that. He can request it, but they don't have to honor it, to be honest. So,
yeah, exactly.
But then I start thinking, well, what's that going to do to the locker room? Is that going to fracture the camaraderie that we've been, so blessed to have in our team's locker room? So this definitely doesn't feel great. I'm in a situation where I'm like, I definitely feel where he's coming from. I definitely feel where the 49ers are coming from. And it's really just like a split down the center for me. I don't know that I side with any one side. I just think it's just a tough situation that they're both in, and it'd be interesting to see how this thing shakes out.
Yeah, I did bully ball with Rob yesterday, and I liked what he said, that no side is in the wrong. There's no wrong in these negotiations. Everyone's just trying to do what's best for them. And that's just how it goes. It could get ugly, on both sides, but that's just the par for the course when it comes to negotiations. It's just, I think, unfortunate that, once again, these 49er negotiations, we're seeing it be more public than maybe us fans and maybe even the 49ers would like. But in any case, I'm sure this happens behind closed doors in a lot of the negotiations that happen, and we just often don't hear about it. But yeah, I was surprised that it took this long for him to request a trade, given everything else we kind of knew to this point. But yeah, to me, I wasn't too surprised. It was more just like there it is kind of thing. There it is. All right.
Honestly, you want to know what I really thought? I was like, damn, Steph and I are both going to be wrong.
Yes, I did think about that too. I was like, oh, my bet is not looking very good, because I think I predicted July 19th.
Yes.
So 2 days. I don't think that's going to happen in 2 days. Your prediction was August 8th. So you're still in the running there for that one. So we'll just have to wait and see. But
yesterday was Amazon Prime Day. We should have just bought the ladybug antenna then. That would have been great. This BOGO.
Oh man, I'm staying away from antenna stuff, or sorry, from ladybug stuff after the Super Bowl. It just doesn't. It's not the same.
Yeah.
But yeah, now I'm at a 50-50%. He plays on the 5th-year option. He gets extended 50-50 on either of those. Whereas before I was 70-30. So
yeah.
I'm a little less positive about it now, but we'll see how it goes. There's definitely going to be, unfortunately, more to talk about with this in the coming weeks. But I mean, it's not without more fuel to the fire that we get this news that Brandon Aiyuk got traded, right? Like, obviously, a lot of fan bases are going to start, chiming in and getting excited because they think their team is going to be trading for Brandon Aiyuk and, come up with trade scenarios and all this other fan fiction, which I've been frowning upon to this point. But Dezi, I gotta tell you, like this one right here, I am all in on. Like I am fan fictioning here myself. Pretty Ricky, if you guys don't know, Pretty Ricky 213, he's like this anonymous like notary he's come out of nowhere like this off season, and he's been right on a lot of free agency moves, a lot of like extensions before Adam Schefter or Ian Rappaport reports on it. He's had it first much of the time. So I'm listening to this, although he did make it clear, and I'm going to read his tweet right here. In capital letters, the tweet starts with rumor, right? So he's not reporting this. He's just saying it's something he's hearing. So rumor, the Raiders are a team interested in trading for Brandon Aiyuk. Aiyuk knows Antonio Pierce from ASU. Here's the fun part. The Raiders would send Davante Adams to the Niners in any trade. Davante has no real money on his deal after this season. Wow. I mean, this is one rumor that I'm like, please have some truth to it, right?
The eyebrows are raised. And fun fact, Davante's daughter is named Dezi. Hey,
I almost texted you about that when I heard that on the show, on the receiver.
Yes. So I'm here for it. Like, love you, BA. Your mom and I need to go have a drink.
Yeah, you're like, bye, mom. You're like, bye, Brandon Aiyuk's mom, Mama Aiyuk.
I mean, he literally has his daughter named after me. So I mean, Davante and I go way back. I left a mark, and so he named his daughter after me. But it could be just throwing that in the universe. It could happen.
could be a manifestation of
I literally rewound it. I rewound it technically. I definitely was like, did they say that's Dezi? Like, that's baby Dezi? Oh my gosh, it's just so cute.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I almost texted you, but I figured you would have that reaction about it. But
yes.
Yeah, I mean, this one excites me. Look, I see it from both sides, but I am seeing some 49er fans like scoff at the idea of the 49ers bringing in Davante Adams. And just for fun, right? Like, I think we're still of the mind that this is probably unlikely to happen. But just for funsies, I would love this to happen. And anyone who's scoffing at the idea, I think to me is silly. I understand what they're concerned about, but I'd be less concerned about that if I were you. And I would just look at it this way. It's not a one-to-one comparison, so don't get too hung up on it. But when Tom Brady was available and the 49ers or fans scoffed at that idea at the time just because he was older, you already had Jimmy Garoppolo, who was younger. He could be anything. Like you're always looking at what the ceiling could be. Yeah, that didn't turn out to be so great. Like, I'm just looking at, and obviously Tom Brady is like the GOAT. Davante Adams, not like I wouldn't consider him a GOAT, right? But he's way better than Brandon Aiyuk is at this point in his career. He's also a little bit older, so I understand it from that point. He's older. But if the 49ers are going all in on 2024, which they should be, why not? Why not? This is literally the only, or one of the only, like, player for player trades, wide receiver for wide receiver trades that I have seen as a possibility, or that people are throwing out as an idea, that I'm like, wait, like that that actually makes sense because I think it makes the 49ers better in 2024. To this point, any like other trade involving Brandon Aiyuk going somewhere else, I'm like, how does that improve the 49ers this year? Most cases, it doesn't. This is one scenario that I think would make them better in 2024. And I do want to bring up his contract as well because that's all part of it too. Like that's part of the conversation and something that's obviously important to look at. The one kicker for me, no guaranteed money after 2024. I mean, that's nice. That means you can either like, I don't know, you could trade him after 2024. You can cut him. You probably wouldn't cut him, right? You'd most likely trade him. But like if you're all in, like I said, in 2024, Davante Adams is the kind of wide receiver that with everyone else on this team, you can win a Super Bowl with, I think.
Hell yeah. Like, yes, I'm here for it. And Davante, just watching receiver, he is hungry for the culture. He is hungry for a winning team and culture. I think he misses that from when he was in Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers. I think this is a great fit. You know, again, I'm not going to, you know, put this too high up on my fantasy wish, but I mean, I definitely wouldn't be mad at it. And I mean, he'd already get along with a lot of the players considering he knows what it's like to catch balls from Garoppolo. So they will already have that in common. So I just, you know, there's just a lot of things that just point in the direction of this could be a thing.
That was a rough watch on receiver, right? Like seeing his reaction to the hospital balls, the overthrows. Yeah, that's crazy. So Al Bundy in the comments, who's, you know, he's not crazy about this idea of Davante Adams, says 32-year-old wide receiver who demands the ball won't fit on the 49ers. Then after 2024, he's over $30 million per year. And at 33, you can't trade him on that contract. Yeah, I mean, I think the idea of trading for Davante Adams, like I said, would just be like the 1 year, essentially somewhat of a rental. I mean, you're still having to, you know, pay for him, but I think it would be like a rental for the 1 year, and then you figure out what to do with him after that and go all in on this season. And by the way, he's 31. He turns 32 in December, so he will turn 32 at some point this season. On the point of him demanding the ball, I understand the concern with that, but I feel like he would be happier in San Francisco just off the virtue that 49ers have a quarterback who can actually get him the ball when he gets open, which he gets open quite a bit. But I don't know. Like, what do you think about that aspect? The fact that the 49ers still a run first team, right? They're still one of the top teams when it comes to rushing attempts in comparison to most. So would he really fit into that? Like, does that make it a waste to bring someone like Adams on board?
I think the only person that really I was like angry about coming to the 49ers, because I was like, that attitude is going to kill the culture, was Deion Sanders. And I couldn't have been more wrong, right? So like, I think that sometimes we think of a persona, or, you know, you get this sense about somebody, but it's really just out of overall frustration. I mean, he's just frustrated. It came back. He didn't seem to be like, once O'Donnell went in and things started to happen and the new coaching staff and the culture started to change there, you can tell that he seemed more relaxed, that he was a little bit more like, hey, we're winning games. I think winning just heals a lot of things, right? Like, so he doesn't get the ball as much. I think coming into San Francisco, he would know that, right? How would you not know that? Did you turn on a game? Like, you're going with Deebo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey. I mean, we've got weapons on our team. And I think you reach a stage in your football career and your sports career where you're like, he said it on the show, like, I'm not getting any younger. I've got more games behind me than I do in front of me. And at some point, if you really want to get a championship ring, if you really want to get that, you have to sacrifice some things. And that means that you're not going to be the guy that's, targeted the most. I mean, even, Jerry Rice, when he left San Francisco, I still get sad about that. Like he had to, not be that number one guy over there. Tim Brown was there with him. So, I mean, I think you just reach a maturity and a part of your life where you're like, okay, it's time for me to like embrace a team. And I think he's ready for that.
Yeah. I don't think it's solely on the targets. I need all the targets. I think in his situation with the Raiders, it was more so about we're not winning, and I feel like I can help this team win if I got the ball. Whereas in San Francisco, let's just say like everyone's helping the team win, so I don't think it would bother him as much if he had less targets. And yeah, to your point, I think sacrificing targets for the greater goal of getting the Super Bowl, and he'd be a lot closer to that with San Francisco than the Raiders. Who are we kidding here? And Technic Sheik points out, yes, Davante Adams from East Palo Alto, which I don't know if that had anything to do with him going to the Raiders. Like, obviously, I think the biggest thing was him playing with Derek Carr. The Raiders weren't even in Oakland anymore when he joined them, so. I mean, it was a team that was local when, he was a native there, but hey, how about you join a team that's actually still in the Bay in the Niners. But yeah, I mean, I think it's intriguing. It definitely piqued my interest. Like I said, like I understand it's unlikely. I understand it's just a rumor. I understand I've scoffed at other fans for like even bringing up other scenarios that like will never happen. This one woke me up though. This one did. I can't lie. So, and I will make fun of myself for being a hypocrite on this one. Don't worry, guys.
It's Wacky Wednesday. This is where we take our shoes off and we just let our hair down and we just say, all right, let's just shoot the shit here.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, we'll continue to follow this situation with Brandon Aiyuk, and if any other reports or rumors come out about this entire situation, we'll be here to update you on it all. But Dezi, last week we did a watch party for the Netflix series Receiver, where George Kittle and Deebo Samuel were one of the two receivers that were featured in it. It was a great watch party, by the way. I enjoyed it. Now, I'm up to the point where I'm on the last episode now. There's only one episode left to watch, and I know it's the one, And so I don't even know if I can bring myself to watch. Like I don't know when I'm gonna watch it. Like I want to be by myself. I want to have a tissue box near me. Yeah, it's crazy. But how has your experience been watching that? Because like as I'm watching it, I even think like, yo, like Dezi probably loves this stuff because like you see like a lot of injuries like that they've shown, and the process of being in the blue tent, and you get to hear what they're saying, you get to hear like what they're evaluating. I'm like, this is pretty cool to get that access. So I'm sure you were kind of nerding out as you were watching, right?
100%. In fact, right before I came on here, I was recording. For those of you who don't know, I have a special series that's coming out called Sports and Medicine, and I'm interviewing different professionals to talk about injuries that happen in the NFL. And so my co-host on there is a physical therapist. And so I was like, oh my gosh, please tell me you're watching Receiver, because it's so cool to see the injury process and see what's discussed on the sidelines and then go to the blue tent, all of those things. What isn't cool is watching the Ravens 49ers Christmas game with my husband on the couch. For those who don't know, he's a Ravens fan. So like that was already one torture I had to endure. But no, to get back to the injuries, I did want to talk about Deebo's, because last year I remember talking about Deebo's injury on the Eric Crocker show. Shout out Eric Crocker. And it was really perplexing to me because I was like, it doesn't really look like the shoulder. He kind of came down more on the middle part of his humerus, that arm there. And then it was like, well, he has a fracture. And it was like, well, where the heck did he get the fracture? Because the humerus is a big bone, and it didn't look like it was that big of an injury to fracture the humerus. Maybe it was a clavicle. And then it came out that it was the scapula. And I kept looking at this, and I'm like, there's no way he injured his scapula on that injury. But I think I did mention, and one of the times talking about it, that there was a tackle that he had, I think, right before that one, which they showed it on receiver, where he got hit in the back. That is probably where that scapular fracture happened. And then the fall caused that stinger in the bicep and distracted from the pain. So you can have two injuries at the same time.
God,
That's
no.
how actually injuries get missed, is because sometimes when you have a patient that comes in and they have two different injuries, whatever injury is causing them the most pain is going to be the one they're going to focus on. And you can easily miss a different injury somewhere else. So I think that was just so fascinating. It was like, there's the answer, right? Just, that puzzle piece was so important for me to have. And then I know that Twitter kind of blew up about Amon-Ra St. Brown's illness was another thing. So I had said I would talk about that here. Did you get that?
And I did. And so he had the, what is it called? Hand, foot, mouth disease.
It sounds awful.
It does. It really does.
It's a disease on the end of it, but it's really just a viral illness. It's called hand, foot, and mouth disease. The name of the virus is actually called Coxsackie virus, and it's common in kids. You definitely see it in kids. They get sores in the hand, foot, and mouth, hence the name of it. They're tiny little blisters. They're awfully painful. To be honest, I've had 5 years ER experience and 3 years of urgent care experience, and everything else has kind of been ortho or surgical subspecialty. So in that time, I don't think I've ever seen an adult case as bad as the one that Amon-Ra had on the show.
And he played with it.
But and it is contagious. Now, here's the thing. It's contagious, but to most adults, we have a pretty good immune system. We've already had exposure to it, so we don't tend to have the reaction that he had. I'll get back to why I think his was as bad as it was. But the contagiousness to general adults isn't as concerning as it is his exposure to a pregnant woman. So this is an illness that if a pregnant woman gets, could cause harm to the fetus. So that would be the thing is, if he's on the field exposing himself to the other men, I mean, it is tough, but I think most adults have the immunity to it and they're not going to get super sick. You might feel like a little bit of some cold symptoms and then that's it. But I think the reason why his was as pronounced is anytime you run down your immune system, something that's kind of your body could take care of on its own tends to not be able to do that. The capacity is much less. So, you're talking about an athlete who's constantly training, who may not be getting enough rest, who's under a lot of stress, the pressure to win, the pressure for, social media and things that are happening in that realm. That stress can suppress your immune system to the point where, you're going to get it a little bit more than what you normally would if maybe you worked a desk job, and didn't have to deal with all that stress. But it's definitely, props to him to be able to go out there and play a football game, catching a ball, running on blisters. Can you imagine having blisters on the palm?
God.
Let me tell you something else. The palms of your hands and the soles of your feet, you have a huge number of sensory nerve endings in your hands and your feet, the palms and the soles. That's where the blisters are. So, yeah.
No, seriously, props to him. I was like, man, he's really gonna play with this because before the game, they show him saying like, I can't feel my hands. Like, oh wow, and you're gonna play? and then they said that the blisters like opened as he was playing just because of like, I guess like the
sweat
of it
and
all. The
sweat,
and
all the things. And that, I think his girlfriend had mentioned, how bloody and stuff his socks and stuff were afterwards.
That's crazy. But I did have a question for you, Dezi, on the Deebo Samuel injury, because obviously like he did re-aggravate that in the game against the Packers, right? So at this point, now we're several months removed from this. Is that something that you worry is going to continue to come back, or it, like, with so much time that has passed, like, it's behind him?
So I think the scapular fracture alone has healed. I don't know that it was the scapula that was bothering him during the Green Bay game. I think it could have been, again, when he had one injury to the scapula, the other injury to the biceps. Is there also a separate issue in the actual joint itself? You can get labral tears and all these things, much like, I think we talked about this too in the offseason, or maybe we didn't. Did we? Kittle had this injury. Yeah, we did talk about it on here because he couldn't catch a ball, right? He couldn't throw a ball. He couldn't throw a ball because of a shoulder injury. And then he got a shoulder injury and now he can throw the ball. So, sometimes these guys just have these ongoing issues that, once you have enough grind going on that's the straw that breaks the camel's back, and it becomes a problem, and the inflammation is really high. So I'm not concerned about a scapular fracture re-injuring. Like that's a really hard fracture to get unless it's a trauma. So, it was just one of those weird fractures that don't happen a lot. So I don't expect that to happen again. So I'm still curious if there's other things happening.
Yeah, I think in the game against the Packers, I think he said it was like the same like stinger that he had. But he said it wasn't as bad.
Yeah, stingers can happen. That's just a nerve that's been hit the wrong way. It's like you slap if you slap somebody in the face, that's a stinger. You slap the nerve that way, and it's just ringing. It's just inflamed, and just electrical current right down the arm. It's not fun.
Yeah. I have so much more, like, I've always respected these players and what they do, what they put their bodies through, but just seeing it from their perspective and like this behind the scenes stuff we never get to see, I have like so much more respect for what they go through and what they like fight through and play through to be able to play. Like, just seeing the intense like physical therapy that they do, like when they're at home. Like Debo like on the table, like getting some work done. So like that all goes into rehab. Like, and I think, sometimes we don't really realize, we're like, oh God, like this player's hurt. Like he's not doing everything he can to get back on the field. And it's like, they are like around the clock. They're doing everything they can to get back on the field. So it was pretty cool to see.
I'm glad that you're saying that, because I definitely had that opinion too. Was, when you hear fans say stuff like, oh, it's just an ankle sprain, he can get up, he can do that,
Yeah.
Like you've got Justin Jefferson literally coughing up blood. And as soon as he started coughing when he came off, I'm like, oh, he might have collapsed a lung. Like that's the severity. And you got somebody's like, oh, put him back in. What's wrong? Like it's just, it's just brutal. So these poor guys, like it's tough out there, for sure.
Yeah. And there's a moment he's like talking to the physical therapist and in a lot of pain because of, what she's doing, but she's like, I got to do this. And he wasn't too happy about it.
Yeah, no, for sure.
But yeah, it's been an awesome watch so far. I hope all of these series has at least one Niner in it, but that probably won't happen. But in any case, it's still a cool show. I still enjoy watching the other players in it as well. But Dezi, you had also sent me something from a George Kittle interview. He was on Rich Eisen, his podcast, I think like last week or something like that, but it was after we did our show last week, so we didn't get to talk about it then. So let me just share the clip here because he had something kind of funny to say about when he knew he could trust Brock Purdy. Let's see.
Football games played at a really high level, went up to MVP. Now you're noticing like the physical attributes of him too, because like the media is trying to hide that, like, oh, he's not some little kid. No, this guy's a dog.
Oh, I know that.
I've seen, if you got to see this, you got to look up, like, compare like Brock
Yes.
McCaffrey to Bosa, and it's like a Pokemon evolution of their quads.
Oh, there it is. Wow, there it
Look
is.
at those quads.
Ooh, damn.
Yeah, I know. Thank you.
Wow.
He's a monster.
No, hold on a minute. Like, so if he was wearing shorts on Super Sunday this past February, that's what they look like? Those aren't new?
No, he's had that since he was a rookie. You guys just don't see it because the media tells you he's just this little kid wearing what is JCPenney's backpack. You just got to see it for yourself, Rich.
Well, he's an assassin, though.
He
that
is.
I know. Give me a good story about him. Maybe the first time you're.
So that's pretty crazy.
Yeah,
Was
I
there
love
more to
that.
that, or was that was it, right? I just can't tell.
I thought he did talk about after that. That was when he was telling me a story, and then he was.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Actually, I couldn't tell if it was like looping because I'm on Instagram here. Here we go.
But I like to banter with them to see if they're gonna like actually like talk back to me, or are they gonna be like shy because, hey, I'm George Kittle. And I've been in the league for 8 years now. Brock's first day, I hung an Iowa football shirt in his locker, which was phenomenal, and he instantly takes it out because he's like 2 lockers down from me. He goes, "You put this in here? Just get this out of my locker." And I'm just like, I'm gonna like you. I absolutely know that already. Just like tosses it on the ground. I was like, respect. I love that.
That's what he said to you?
Oh, yeah, get this out of my locker. I was like, phenomenal. Absolutely love it. He's into year 3 now.
Yeah.
All right, so I think that was the end of it. Yeah, I mean, George obviously a good storyteller, but also just a guy that you know he likes to poke fun at people, and it seemed like he did his own little social experiment to see what Brock Purdy would react like to this, and
Yeah.
I mean.
No, there's so many
good
parts
one.
of that. I think I watched that clip like 3 different times just to keep laughing because I'd laugh at something and then I would miss what he would say the next time around. The Pokemon evolution was so funny.
That was a great one.
So, since you're a big Bosa fan, do you have Bosa thighs like Bosa?
I don't think so.
Don't worry.
My thighs are thick for a different reason than Bosa. I'm sure it's probably because I'm the one that eats the carbs and he's the one that doesn't, and his are all muscle.
Yeah,
Mine is
no one
mostly
has
just
quads
cushion.
like that. But I thought the Pokemon evolution was so fantastic because I think that was perfect. And then like hang the Iowa jersey in Brock's locker
just to see what would happen.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I have a little bit more respect for Brock for doing that because I don't know that I would picture him doing that on day one, like just pulling that out and just. But it's Kittle. I think you could have gotten away with Kittle. I don't know if he would do that if it was like Trent.
True. You know Kittle's a jokester, so you can you can swear at him and whatnot. Another thing, like to go back to receiver really quick, another thing that I love, like George hypes everyone up. Like you see any time that they showed like an interception, and it could have just been editing, but like George is the first person to go up to Brock and be like, "Hey, like it's okay. Like let's get him next time," or just like any words of encouragement immediately. Yeah. And like I think he's there for like everyone too. And it's so funny. I was watching, I think it was the game against the Packers in the playoffs, and at one point, I think because he's stressed or like he's got the juices flowing, he's like, I need to get up. He was like on the bench, and he's like, I need to get up, and he goes up and like starts talking to people and pumping guys up. It's just like, this is just who he is. Like, and it's awesome to see that. And even Debo's more vocal, I think, than I thought he was, or like what I perceived him to.
Agree. That's what I was going to say. Like, we know who Kittle is. He does not shy away from cameras. We know what is going to happen when he's around, right? We know the energy that he brings. Debo has been like the most fascinating thing to me because he is a hype guy too. Like, I don't know that I would have he's like, where's George? Like, he's looking for George so they can scream at each other before the game. Like, I always saw him and Aiyuk, but I never saw and him talking to Purdy, and like, even when he was in the talks that he's been doing, I was like, man, and that's the thing. We got to remember as fans, we only know one dimension of these guys. We don't know who they are at home. We don't know who they are behind closed doors and with their teammates in the locker rooms, and that's been the cool thing to see. I think in this receiver is to see all these different athletes.
It's like people have been hiding the Debo content from us. Like I feel like I know him a little bit better now, you know. So like keep it coming. I want more Debo content going forward.
1,000%.
It has been pretty great.
All right, so when are you biting the bullet? When are you watching this last episode? I got to catch up, so I'm just wondering if like it's gonna.
Should we do a watch party for the last episode?
I'm down for it. We could do that.
I'd have to wait till like next Wednesday, but I'll probably put it off anyway. So actually, next Wednesday I'm gonna be flying to the Bay, so I can't. I don't think we can do our Wacky Wednesday show. But
I'll be in Texas next Wednesday.
Well, there you go. Our travel days aligned. So, but we can figure out another day, maybe Tuesday, that we could do like our watch party for the last episode. Would you guys like? So we got some people in the live chat here. Would you guys be down, even if you guys have watched the last episode already? Would you guys be down to do a watch party of the last episode as well? Yeah, Technic Chic, offering some emotional support for the last episode. I'm serious. I will have.
I'm dead ass. I won't bring popcorn that time. I'll bring Kleenex.
Bring some Kleenex.
That way you can't see my Cookie Monster eating that I did with the popcorn last time. Literally popcorn falling out of my mouth as I'm trying to watch a show.
Oh God. Yeah. I think I'd have to wear some sunglasses maybe. You know, people wear sunglasses to like a funeral. I don't want you to see me. I don't want you guys to see me cry.
Even though you guys with the veil, the black veil.
Jesus Christ. Oh my God. Well, yeah, we might actually do this. So, you know, guys, stay posted on that. We'll figure it out and we'll organize a little bit better this time than we did the first one.
Right. So I'll watch up to the last one and then I'll wait for further deets.
Okay, cool.
Sounds good.
I'm excited. See, now I can't wait to watch it.
Yep.
Yeah, but Dezi, what else is going on with you? Has there been anything else that has piqued your interest in, you know, 49ers land or otherwise?
What is this that I'm seeing about Mitch Wishnowsky?
Oh, I think his wife, his partner had a baby, right?
Yeah. So congratulations.
He also cut his hair. He had long hair before.
I'm feeling some kind of way about that. I'm superstitious. Really? Y'all know I'm superstitious. I'm one of those crazy nut jobs. So
I'm just a little stitious.
So no, it was. I love doing that. Love baby news. Look at that.
Yeah, cute. Little Aussie baby. That is a head of hair on that baby. Wow. Well, that's a lot of hair.
Yeah. Maybe it's
for a newborn.
Maybe it's the hair Mitch cut off. It's just laying on top of the baby.
Clearly, great hair runs in the family.
Runs in the family. Yes. Congratulations, man. Life will never be the same again. I tell you.
Congrats.
No, that I don't want to talk about Cam Newton, so we ain't even going to bring that up.
The Mad Hatter? Literally the Mad Hatter.
Yeah, 100%.
Literally mad.
Did you see Christian McCaffrey and his new bride on their honeymoon? It looks like a freaking
Where'd they go?
Fine ad. I don't know. They're on a yacht somewhere.
I mean, they could be anywhere they want to be, you know?
Yeah. He's got abs for days, and she's got like this beautiful like designer bathing suit, red bathing suit on. They both look like Barbie and Ken sitting there. I'm like, wow.
I mean, if he got it flaunted, I guess.
Hey, they are, and I would too. So,
and like you know, the season is starting soon, so it's like the last hurrah of the off season for them.
Ricky Pearsall. We didn't talk about Pearsall.
Yeah, Rick. Well, so we still don't know what the Ricky Pearsall injury is yet, so we can't really evaluate. But you know, Matt Barrows did say that it's not considered serious, so that's good at least. What do you predict Kyle Shanahan is going to say about Ricky Pearsall's injury when we finally get to hear from Kyle at camp? Those exact words, probably. Because you already know he's going to be like uber vague. Like, he's not going to give us any details about what it is. He's just going to be like, oh, yeah, he hurt himself outside of here.
Well, I was trying to come up with a meme. Florida man. It's always the Florida man. Do you know that joke? I don't know if everybody knows that joke. It's the Florida. Okay, so yeah, Florida man injures himself before starting job. As a you know, was he wrestling alligators or something? No.
My joke was, this is gonna ruin the tour.
I saw that.
Yeah, everyone was. That was kind of a meme for a bit. If you guys, I you know, that's just one of those you can't explain. If you know, you know.
Yeah.
If you know, you know.
Yeah,
but Dezi, this has been a fun episode, as it always is. Next week, training camp begins, so we'll have to figure out our schedule for that. We already said next Wednesday we won't be doing a show, but maybe we can figure out a day for another day in the week that we can talk. And I'm excited for camp to finally get some updates. Rookies have already reported. Veterans report next week. So good times. Like the season's like ramping up now.
Yes.
Here we go.
The light at the end of the tunnel. We're just about there. Let's go.
Thank God. Thank God. Well, thank you everyone that tuned in for today's show. As always, guys, keep the live chat popping. Really appreciate it. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Audio listeners, leave a rating, leave a review. But for now, have a good rest of your Wacky Wednesday, folks. Peace.